So today I wanted to go over 3 training methods you could use to build muscle. But before we get into the workouts, I think it's important to note that the best way at the end of the day to build muscle is to practice the basics and the fundamentals for a long period of time, and while making sure that you're getting enough calories. So you're in a calorie surplus, you're getting enough protein consistently, you're training hard, right? Recovering. Once you've exhausted that and you've been training for, at least a few years, and you want to maybe add a little bit of novelty to your workouts to keep training interesting and keep the engagement high so you look forward to going to the gym, or you're a really advanced lifter looking for more maybe advanced training methods to stimulate a response in the body so you can continue to see adaptation in the muscles and grow bigger muscles. These methods might be a really good kind of addition to your workouts. So let's stop chatting, let's get to it. So the first method is cluster sets. So when we think about what we need to build muscle from a training standpoint, we need 3 big things. Number 1, the most important, is mechanical tension. So that's when we're lifting heavy weights, basically, the intensity is high. Number 2 is muscle damage. So the amount of volume and work that we're putting our muscles through so they get damaged and they grow back stronger. The third thing is metabolic stress. So really, cluster sets are a great way to increase the total amount of mechanical tension that we're experiencing in a set, because mechanical tension is at its highest when we're using loads that are roughly above 80% of our 1 rep max for the weight that we're using for an exercise. But even if you don't use training percentages in your program, just think mechanical tension is when you're lifting heavier weights, okay? So in terms of using cluster sets as a way to build muscle, it's great because it allows us to achieve a higher amount of reps with heavier loads, like above 80%, as opposed to just doing one continuous set. Now you might be thinking, what the heck is a cluster set? A cluster set is, all it is just mini sets. So you take one set of an exercise and you break it down into mini sets. So for example, rather than doing 8 consecutive reps for one set, you might break that down into clusters of 2 reps. So you might do 2 reps, rest anywhere between 10 to 15 seconds, do another 2 reps, rest 10 to 15 seconds, and do the same thing until you complete 8 total reps. You can do it in lower rep ranges for more, strength building purposes, or you can do them in higher rep ranges to help you get a little bit more volume with heavier loads and to achieve more total mechanical tension for hypertrophy purposes or muscle building purposes. So the example that I'm going to show you today is with weighted chin-ups. If you're someone who does chin-ups and you wanted to, add a little bit of weight to them, you could use cluster sets by breaking down the bigger set into mini sets and achieve more total volume. So I'm basically going to be here. I'm going to grab the weight belt. I've got 50 pounds here, so I'm going to try to get at least 8 total reps, but I'm going to break each set down into 2 reps. So 4 mini sets of 2 reps. So I'm going to go here, dead hang. I do 2 reps. And then I rest anywhere between 10 to 15 seconds. If I was doing a shorter rep range where I was only, trying to achieve maybe 3 to 5 total reps, more in that strength range with the cluster sets, I'd probably rest a little bit longer, maybe up to 20 seconds between each mini set. I'm going to go for another set of 2 here. Now, cluster sets, they're good. They're more of an advanced training method, I would say. But sometimes I might use them with some of my beginner clients, because if I'm getting a beginner client to practice the technique of an exercise, I want the quality to be high. So breaking down a set into cluster sets allows them to not feel fatigued by the end of the set. So each rep is going to be high quality. So it's also a good way to practice technique for beginners as well. I'm going to do another set here. So that's 6 so far. I'm going to rest about 10 to 15 seconds, do another set of 2. So I achieve, 8 total reps within this cluster set here. Really great training method. Keeps the quality of the reps high so you're not feeling fatigued by the end of the set. So you're getting the most out of every rep. And that's cluster sets. So going back to the 3 things we need from a training standpoint to build muscle: mechanical tension, muscle damage, and metabolic stress. The 6-12-25 method encompasses all those methods into one great workout. So originally it comes from Charles Poliquin's shock method. Also, Jason Brown has been great at posting some really great content on this method as well. So the 6-12-25 method, basically what you're doing is you're doing 3 different exercises in a tri-set. You're resting 10 seconds between each exercise. The first one is the heavy compound lift. So that's when we're lifting for heavy reps, every set of 6 reps. So we're doing 6 reps of a compound lift. We rest 10 seconds. We do 12 reps of a more supplemental movement that targets the same muscles used in that primary exercise. After that, we rest 10 seconds, and then we do 25 reps of a more isolated exercise to get that metabolic stress really dialing in on a specific muscle group that we want to target that was used in those 2 previous exercises. So the one I'm going to show you today involves it's more for the biceps. But the great thing about all these methods that we're going over today is they're very malleable. So you have the ability to kind of plug and play whichever movements you want into these methods to get the most out of, like, to target certain areas of the body, whether it's upper body, lower body, push, pull, legs, core, whatever you want. Okay, so for the 6-12-25, you're gonna need, I'm gonna be doing weighted chin-ups for my heavy compound lift for a set of 6. I'm gonna be doing hammer curls with dumbbells for 12. And then I'm going to be doing banded bicep curls for 25. So if you choose to try this workout on your own, you could do a weighted, you could do a body weight, wherever you're at. So for the chin-up variation, I'm going to be having my palms supinated here, so I'm targeting a little bit more of the biceps and forearms here. So I'm going to go to dead hang. I'm going to go for 6 reps. After that 6th rep, get down. I rest about 10 seconds, so it's going to be a fairly fast transition here between movements. I'm going to grab the dumbbells. I have 12 hammer curls, second of 3 movements. And again, all these movements are tackling the same muscle. After that 12th rep, I'm going to put the dumbbells down. I'm going to grab a resistance band. I'm going to step on the band with both feet. Have that same hammer grip in my hands on the outside of the band. And we're going to go for 25 reps. This should really start handling the biceps here. All that blood is pumping and concentrated to the biceps. I think it's 15, we got 10 more. That's awesome. Now, in terms of rest, when you're transitioning between the exercises, you only want about 10 seconds. After that 3rd exercise, take anywhere between 3 to 4 minutes. You're going to need it because that 2nd set is incrementally harder than the 1st set because all that kind of blood catches up to you. So it's going to feel a little bit more fatiguing on that 2nd set, especially that 3rd set if you choose to do 3 total sets. I wouldn't recommend probably more than 3 total sets of this if you're going to do it in your own workouts. In terms of loading that you use, if you're going to use for that heavy lift, you want to use a weight that is probably about an 8 to 10 rep max for this because you want to drop the weight a little bit and not use like a 6 rep max because you're going to be like gassed by the end of the set because you've got 2 other exercises you need to follow from that initial main lift that target the same move. So you're going to be wiped by the end of it. So for the main lift, 6 reps, use a load that is about an 8 to 10 rep max at most. For that 2nd exercise, for the 12 reps, use one that's more of like a 15 to 20 rep max, I would say, for the 12 reps. Because again, you're going to be gassed if you use like a 12 rep max. You're not going to be able to do it while pairing it with the other moves. And that last isolated exercise, I call it more of like a feel exercise. So just use a weight or band resistance where you really feel that tension created and isolated in that muscle that you want to target. So that's the 6-12-25 method, or the shock method by Charles Poliquin. So the third method is a mechanical drop set. So if you watched some of my videos before, you probably know what a mechanical drop set is. A classic drop set is when you do one exercise, but with varying loads. So you do some reps with heavier weight, drop the weight a little bit, do more reps, drop the weight a little bit lower, do more reps. That's a classic drop set, right? You've probably done that in the gym before. A lot of people have. A mechanical drop set is a little bit different. Mechanical drop set, rather than doing the same exercise for all sets with varying loads, you use the same weight for all exercises, but we have different exercises in the set. The kicker is that all the exercises target the same muscle. So mechanical drop set, it starts with I would say the weakest or the hardest movement to perform. So the movement that you can basically lift the least amount of weight with. And each consecutive exercise thereafter gets a little bit easier to perform. It's a stronger movement. But the reason it feels challenging is because we're pre-fatiguing it with those earlier exercises, really dialing in on those muscles. So the one that we're going to do today, I call it as a boulder shoulder burnout. I'm taking inspiration from Joe DeFranco's shoulder burnout that he posted a while back in one of his blogs, I think. But with this one here, we have a few different movements that we're going to be doing that tackle the shoulders and the delts. So the first one is an alternating lateral raise. So I have both arms up. I go one arm at a time. I'm going to go for 6 reps. So I do 6 reps each side. I'm holding a static position in one arm while the other arm lowers and does a lateral raise. Really just hammering the delts. This is the weakest of the movements. After I do 6 each side, I'm going to do just regular lateral raises both together. It's a little bit easier this one because I'm not holding a static position. And here I'm going to go for 8 reps. After that 8, I'm going to do Cuban presses for 10 reps. And I can really feel my delts and my shoulders just on fire right now. And these are only 10 pounds. You don't need to use a heavy weight if you choose to do this on your own. After that 10th rep, I'm going to go for 12 just overhead presses. Whoa. And it just burns. So that's like a really great example of a mechanical drop set. This one here really isolates the shoulders, but like with all these methods, you have the flexibility and the ability to basically plug and play whichever exercises you want, as long as you're following that protocol where, like, if you're doing a mechanical drop set and you're going to be doing exercises in a series, you want to start off with the weaker exercise or the one with the least mechanical advantage. And then each exercise after that should be a stronger exercise, but it's still going to feel really tough because you're pre-fatiguing those muscles that you're using in the first exercise as well. So that's a mechanical drop set. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you know a friend that might benefit from this video, please feel free to share. Thanks for taking the time for watching. I'll see you guys soon.